What's going on, folks? HitPointsGaming here with our podcast. Chris, how you doing?
Doing pretty good this week. Pretty good.
Kev, how you doing?
Not bad at all.
All right, make sure that you head over to Spreaker to the Filling the Void podcast network. That's where you'll be able to get the download for this in case you just want the audio and you don't feel like looking at our faces and Kev's controllers. Corey is out today, but we have Kev here as a sub. Kev's been playing games with us for quite a long time, and he definitely is more of a PC guy.
Yep.
So it's going to be good to get his particular opinion on our subject today, which is going to be the classic console re-release things going on. There's a whole bunch of them, but as always, we're going to talk about what it is we've been up to. Dude, it's finally here. The game I waited 3 years for, which is
Star
Cuphead.
Fox 2. Oh,
Cuphead.
Oh
My God,
Oh,
dude.
come on.
Oh my God. Cuphead is so good. It is insane to me. To look at it, if I could describe the gameplay, it's Contra that looks like Steamboat Willie. And it actually plays so perfect that I couldn't have asked for anything more from it right now. They added, for a guy like me, it's kind of easy just to go through the levels, but then it's like, can you get an A+, which is, can you beat it with this time, getting this many types of hits and stuff like that. So it adds a lot of challenge and kind of speed run to it. I think the game is fantastic. The audio is fantastic. They did not allow, it's hard to explain. So you could have a game that looks like that, but still sounds like a modern game with gunfire and stuff. But all the sound effects are like real slapstick and hits and pops and stuff like that. So it's really good. So I've just been playing a ton of Cuphead. Our UFC 2 league just ended, and I am the victor. Woohoo for me. And
who do you play that with? Like online, or you have some local friends?
Both, actually.
Okay.
Both. So there's some guys around town that are in it, and then there's a couple guys that I met online who are in it too. We only had 7 people, but that was basically for me to run it. You know what I mean?
Okay.
To figure out how I'm going to do it. And then now I'm going to kind of let people bring in friends of friends and stuff. I wanted to keep it tight at first, and now I'm going to be like, I don't care who's in it. But besides that, that's really it. Chris, what have you been up to?
I got a question on Cuphead. Now, I've been reading. It came out this week. It's on Steam. It's on consoles. Now, everyone's complaining, this game's too hard. Can I return it?
Oh, my God.
I don't know. See,
I've watched some videos. What are you going to say, Kev? Go ahead.
Well, so last night I was watching a streamer play through Cuphead, and I agree with what Doug was saying. The sound effects are on point. The art style, it really, it was like I was watching...
It's a cartoon.
It was a cartoon.
It's so good.
I gotta admit, I was really surprised by how quality the graphics were and how nice the artwork was and everything. Gameplay, I gotta say, pretty basic looking platformer. Not necessarily that's a bad thing, but pretty basic platformer. And one of the guys said that he beat the entire game in 4 hours. So
which I wouldn't doubt.
Right. So if it's capable to be beaten in 4 hours by someone, then I can't really say that the game is, oh my God, hard. It
Right.
doesn't seem like that really would hold up.
We had, we had an entire podcast about the difficulty of games, but to say that the game is too hard is crazy. Now, what I will say is, when I started playing it, when I started playing the very first level, the first thing, like a guy comes from the top and then a guy comes from the front, and they're kind of throwing stuff at you, and I immediately realized within maybe 20 seconds, like, some people are gonna suck at this game so bad. Because although the game does the whole thing where like a guy pops here, so then guys are gonna come from above. Now guys are gonna come from the front. Okay, now they show like this thing that spits seeds by itself. But then the next one you got guys and the seeds. So it gradually works you into works you into new things, and it gets to the point to where, for somebody who's not into classic games, it's gonna get wrecked by Cuphead.
It sounds like, not to cut you off, sorry, but it sounds like it's like old school Nintendo style game where
it's Contra.
You get to a certain point and something just flies at you and kills you, and you just have to remember, okay, when I get here, this is gonna happen, so I have to know to get out of the way.
Right, and that's Contra. The game is literally Contra, Mega Man style game, which, again, if you gave Contra to somebody right now and they don't know it, They're gonna die over and over.
Their 3 lives are gone before they probably even find the spread gun. And,
right.
You know.
But the difference in Contra was if you died 3 times, you start the whole game over.
Yes.
Versus Cuphead, you just try the level again. So I see that people are saying it's tough. It's not too hard. My brother, who taught me how to play games, you know, he's having trouble on some of the bosses, but he's getting through them. Is he getting an A+ and getting the best grade like I am? No. But he's getting through the bosses and he's able to beat the game. Now he has the advantage of playing games for damn near 40 years now, but on the other hand, like, he's not great at it, but he is beating it. You know what I mean?
And he's having a good time, I'm assuming, too.
Oh my god. He texted me the other day. I should bring it up on my phone. He's going through Cuphead withdrawal while he's at work. I can't express my praise for that game enough. I have actually just recorded the review for it, so that'll be up in a couple days.
Cool.
But
sounds like it's almost kind of forgiving though too, as you said. Like Contra, you die 3 times, start the entire game over. This, you die 3 times, you just start the level over. So it's not that beat you down hard.
Right. Yeah, that's exactly it. And you get upgrades and stuff too that stay with you. You know. So, but that's the modern gamer is. Oh, this game's too hard. Can I have my money back? Can you make this part easier? You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I've seen numerous people on Twitter and YouTube saying, you know, hey, this game is too hard. Is this game for me? You know, is it too hard? Am I not going to have fun playing with it? And it doesn't really look like that. I mean, they've done a lot of, like, Volgar the Viking was a really hard game.
Yo,
very similar, you know?
I have not beaten that yet. That game
Volgar was like, yeah, that game's great. But I mean, it's a different kind of thing. It's kind of retro-ish, I guess you could say, just like Cuphead. Cuphead looks amazing. It sounds like everything you're saying is right. But it's like, why? I don't want to get into it too much, but why is it too hard? Why are people too afraid of it? Like, Dark Souls is really hard, but it's so fun, you know? Like, make what you can of it.
Yeah, well, I think some people appreciate a challenge in games, and I think some people may have, you know, like Dark Souls, you know what you're getting into. You know this game is just going to kill you, and you're going to die and smash you. Cuphead may look like, it's just an innocent, fun kind of game, and then all of a sudden you get it, you start playing it, and you're like, wow, this is what's going on. Things are flying at me from everywhere, and I'm dying all the time.
Yeah, I could see that definitely being a thing. Some people want games that they can hold forward and shoot, and everything in front of you just dies as you go along. And the only way you die is if you fall in a pit or if you let go of shoot. Like, that's what people want. But games aren't always like that, and it's good to do your research before you buy something.
Right.
Oh, absolutely.
Will Cuphead be too hard for you? It might. So watch somebody play it and see what happens. That is the beauty of what age that we're in right now as far as technology.
Yes.
There's so much information. So, Chris, what have you actually been playing?
Talking about holding forward and shooting, I've been playing the new Doom game.
Oh boy.
Oh, the recent
Doom.
one. Okay.
Yeah, the most recent Doom.
I thought there was another one.
No. It's fantastic. It's so much fun.
Really?
But it is only you just move forward and shoot the guys. Like, the only reason I die is because I'm trying to make a jump that you're not supposed to, and I fall. And die off the planet or something, you know. Like, there are points where you do get beat up, you know, and I have really low health, but you have like this really cool, like, the guns are awesome. The guns feel big and heavy. You're like, there's machine guns, and I haven't gotten the BFG yet. I'm like 7 hours in. BFG isn't up just yet, you know, but like it's great. The sound's good, and, you know, they have that you know, like that whole Doom theme.
Yeah,
it's really good. I'm really enjoying it.
It's a good rhythm game. You can actually get, because I played it for maybe like a half hour or so. There was like a demo. You can actually kind of run through it and kill guys almost in like a rhythm style of killing.
Okay.
Because a lot of it's melee too. You know, so you can kind of just keep bouncing and killing guy to guy to guy and just kind of run through it like that.
It's got like this whole stagger system, you know, like you shoot them and they stagger, and you like go up and punch them, kind of deal, for like a last hit kill.
And then you get like the items for that too, right? You get like
you get health and stuff. So that's what I'm saying. Like, it's hard, but it's not really hard. I'm playing not on the super hard, but I'm playing like on the harder one. Okay. And it's you know, you just run up and kill someone, you get a bunch of health at the end. So it's like, it's difficult, but it's not super difficult.
Right.
It's really fun. I'm having a great time. The map's huge, and they come back on each other. Yeah, they look really good.
It looks really
well
good.
designed. So like you start at the beginning and you end at the end, obviously, but like going and you can get back and forth between the 2 points really easily. They circle navigate into each other, which is really good. Just really well designed. Definitely worth like $20, which it is right now. I think it is.
That's awesome.
Yeah. What about you, Kev? What have you been playing?
Well, I mean, Chris, as you know, we've been playing some Heroes of the Storm, which I wasn't too much of a fan of at first. I'm more of a League of Legends guy, but I can definitely see the appeal to Heroes of the Storm. It's a little bit more of a casual approach, not so detail oriented, and you don't have to really build a guy. You don't really have to get items, stuff like that. You can
Smash it on my game.
Yeah, well, no, I mean, you got me playing it for like a month and a half, 2 months now.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
It's definitely fun. I would appreciate it if there was a little more strategy with the characters, but again, I understand that's where it differentiates from League, and that's where it's a little more easier and welcoming to the masses to play, which is a good thing because there's always people playing and everything, and it's Blizzard, so it's polished and it's beautiful. Another game that I've been playing, well, I wish I could have been playing it a lot more, but I just found out about this game called Crypt Art. It's in early release right now, and I picked it up through a Humble Bundle for like $10 with a bunch of other games. Best way for me to describe this game is it's Solar Jetman meets Metroid meets Broforce.
I'm doing the same thing, Doug. I'm like, what?
Whoa!
I'm telling you, look up a video. Yep, look up a video of it. I'm telling you, it's really cool. I don't have too much to say about it because I was playing it yesterday. I just got it yesterday, and I broke my Xbox controller.
No.
So it is a twin stick shooter kind of game.
Okay.
And so I tried using keyboard and mouse, and I'm a keyboard and mouse guy. Trust me, I go to that more than a controller. This is not a keyboard and mouse game. You need a controller. So I overnighted, one day shipped from Amazon, an Xbox One controller to use for my computer. So when that gets here, I'm gonna play it some more. But it's you get to, so you're like a guy in a ship, like a spacesuit, and you have to go to different things to find artifacts and money and equipment and just keep leveling up. I'm not really sure what the end game is, honestly, because like I said, I haven't really played it that long. But you get to find tech as you're playing. You can make different loadouts for your guy. I think you can actually play it stealth as well, like a stealth style. That's not really my style, so I haven't really delved into any of that. I'm more just kind of like bullet storming it, kind of shooting through it. But it's a lot of fun, I gotta say, if it's on the Humble Bundle still for $10, definitely pick it up. It's very nice, polished graphics and everything for what it is. So
that's really cool. It sounds dude, it sounds like fun. It sounds like fun.
Yeah, it's really a lot of fun.
Awesome. So getting to today's topic, which is basically our thoughts on the Nintendo Classic and Super Nintendo Classic Minis, and as well as re-releases in general of consoles now. It's just becoming a thing. It's becoming popular to do. Sega actually, and Kev mentioned this before the podcast, I'm glad that he said something, was Sega had one out for a while now that's been at like Toys R Us and Walmart. And the good thing about the Sega one is that you can actually still put cartridges in it. Okay, that's huge, because the Nintendo ones you can't. But there's 40 games on it, and only like 15 of them are licensed. You know what I mean? The rest of them are just weird games that they packed in there. But as far as the I thought the Nintendo Classic Mini looked really cool. I have other ways to play those games. I have my Nintendo. I would rather get like an Everdrive. That's my thing. I'd rather play it on the original hardware, but I think it's cool that they made it, right? I think it's cool that they made it.
Absolutely.
Has a great interface. It looks great, the console itself. Weird decision to have like a 2.5-foot controller wire when everybody's playing on 70-inch TVs.
Yeah, that was the only thing I didn't understand that at all. Like, I don't know how that got past R&D, and someone said, "Sure, that's a great idea."
They were playing it on monitors. That's why. No, they were playing it on monitors.
Kids.
What?
That's what we did. We sat right in front of the television screen like this.
Do I need to get like a Nintendo controller? Because them wires are long. Them wires are very long.
You can sit on a couch with them.
Right. But I bet they were playing it on monitors while they were testing it, and they didn't realize that that people were going to put this in their living room. I think it's a great living room ornament to have. For you got people over, hey, want to play Mario 3? Sure. And not necessarily for me, like I said, I would rather have, like, something else. But for your average person, and I think the group that they're kind of selling it to, which is maybe like the 40-year-old person who's like, oh my God, I can play Mario again. And it's in the press. Not knowing that they could have been playing Super Mario 3 on their phone for the past 15 years.
See, but I actually think they're marketing it to the younger crowd of people, maybe people that are, 15 to 21, 22. Because, like, if you're an older person, you like our age, in our 30s, and cared about video gaming, it's a very good possibility. Like you said, you have a Nintendo, you have a Super Nintendo. Very possibly you may already have some of this equipment.
Or you figure out another way to play it.
Right. Or there's another way to play it, which there are many other ways to play these things. But I think this is actually, I think it's targeted more to the younger generation of kids who didn't get to grow up playing Super Mario, but they're looking at it like pixel art games are huge right now, and they're all the rage.
Everything is right. Pixel art.
So yeah, and I think this is honestly, I think they're cashing in on that and cashing in on the market of kids that are like, oh my God, I love Mario and everything like that. But they're 17, they're 16, they weren't around when Nintendo was broken for 10 years already before they were even born.
Yeah.
So now they can actually have a way to kind of play those games in the way that we did when we were kids.
Yeah, I mean,
I've got a guy at work that he's got an 11-year-old son, and his son cannot wait to get this SNES Classic to play Metroid because he's never played it. And like kept saying, like I didn't at first believe that this was for people younger than us. Like I don't think there's a 10-year-old kid running around out there saying, I can't wait to play Metroid. But there is. Like they built these franchises up, and where they're at right now, the franchises like Metroid and Zelda, they're huge.
Right.
When we were a kid, Metroid was like, that was it. Like it was just one game, and Zelda was one game, So now they're these huge franchises, and you have kids like, oh, I want to play all of them, or I want to.
Right.
Okay, yeah, you're right. Okay.
The origin of it, the original, where did it come from?
I want to play the first one. Yeah, okay. I totally can agree with that. Now that you say it,
there's definite nostalgia going on with it also.
So
obviously.
the way that I saw it, and working at Toys R Us at the time when the NES Classic was coming out, was most people were getting it for their husband to turn it on. They're gonna turn it on for 15 minutes, play a round of Mario 3, and be like, that was fun.
Yep, and not touch it for a year.
Let's turn on football and give me a beer. Like,
yeah, exactly.
That's kind of what I thought was gonna happen with it, and it's unfortunate how Nintendo handled the first one. Because I would have one, right? So like I said, I worked there. I could have got one. I could have flipped it, but I really wasn't about that life. And the fact that Nintendo does this stuff on purpose to people is crazy. Because
marketing. It works.
It is. And I think they use it personally to sell the Switch, because it got Nintendo's name in everyone's mind. And then they announced the Switch, right? But it's insane. I mean, it's weird to do it. Like, if they did it with the Switch, I'd have been okay. But they're doing it now to people who want this thing, not just, like for nostalgia reasons. I don't know. I feel different about it because of what it is. It's like old games, and it appeals to such a different crowd that aren't even really about that whole life of paying so much money for this thing. But people had to at one point if they were going to get it for Christmas.
Right. Well, that's the whole thing of like Nintendo creates this
the buzz.
I don't want to say false hype, but everything you just know by now that Nintendo products are going to be in limited supply and limited quantity. Yep. You know that,
and they're like the biggest company ever.
Right, and this totally bodes in the favor of the scalpers, because they'll somebody might take a day off from work to go wait in line to go pick up 10 of these things that are going to be limited supply that they know that they can flip online for 5 and 6 times the price, which was happening. I mean, if you look at some of the resale prices on these things on eBay and everything, was crazy.
Dude, I went to Amazon the night before the SNES Classic release. There's none in stock, but the next seller who had one was $242.
Yeah, right there. That's 3 times the price easily.
So it's a shame how they handle it, and especially now with this one. This one is more money, right? The SNES. So the NES Classic had 30 games. It was $60.
$60. I think it was 30 games. Yep.
Yeah. To go over some of the features real quick, so people know what they're paying for. You get the NES Classic only came with 1 controller, so to get 2 controllers was a really big deal to try to find an extra one.
Mm-hmm.
The games had save states. It looked great. HDMI. The problem was you had to get up to the console to change the game, and in 2016, that's not okay.
Well, you're only 2.5 feet away from it, so
yeah, right.
So and that's another thing. So the controller wire was 2.5 feet. You had a choice. You could get an extender for your controllers, or what I would have probably done, get a huge HDMI cable and bring the console onto the coffee table and have it right next to you. So when you want to change games, you could reach over and press it. Otherwise, you're going to be getting up and going across your living room and hitting the button. Same goes for, it had state save features, which is great for people who die. You get to the next level, you can save your progress on any game, which didn't exist back then. And then the SNES Classic, same thing. 21 games, I think, Chris?
21
games, but it's $80. And I think that extra money, though, comes with a second controller. That's what I would...
Probably. Yeah. Probably.
I would say that...
But you're losing 9 games, though, too.
Yeah, but games don't cost them anything.
Them, no.
The games cost them nothing, but to manufacture a controller costs money.
Yeah.
So they're saying it looks great, feels great, and if I'm just not about going out and waiting in line to get one. If they were on store shelves like anything else in GameStop or anything like just to get, I would have them both, and they wouldn't even be opened probably. I would just have them because I think they're cool. But I'm not down for hey, I need to go get this thing. Just like the Amiibo, I waited in line for a couple of Amiibo that I really wanted, and come to find out they were going to come out 6 months later for me just walk in the store and see them hanging on the shelf. So now that Nintendo's doing this, other companies have been doing this too.
Oh, so, yeah. There's one I heard about. There's one that came out. It has I think it's like $40. I don't know the company that makes it. Some off-brand company, but it has like 600 games on there. But I think they actually have games on there from other systems.
That's illegal.
Yeah, well, yeah, it is. But again, you're buying it. I think you have to buy it through like Alibaba.
Yeah.
But there's definitely other things out there.
Atari's been doing it forever, right? The ones that you can plug into the TV.
Yes.
Yeah. With the composite cables.
Yeah, like the Mario, the Pac-Man, or like stuff like that. But Atari is making an Atari box. They've announced.
Yep.
And I guess seeing that with the NES Classic everyone's trying to jump on. There's someone trying to remake a Commodore 64 retro.
That's on
Kickstarter.
I
just saw that. That's crazy.
Now what's funny is I'm actually the most excited for that. Depending on the games that's on there, and I refuse to back anything on Kickstarter ever. It is against my life rules to back anything.
Okay.
I'm 5 years. I'm still waiting for this game that I backed.
See, I won't do it, man. You may never. They could tell you right now that you're not going to get it, and you wouldn't get your money back.
Yeah.
So,
I already don't want to play this game anymore.
The Commodore, depending on what they have on there, that's weird. That's the weird thing. Nintendo, you kind of know what games are going to be on these consoles, right? Like you kind of know. You're going to get a Metroid, a Star Fox, a Zelda, the Mario series, stuff like that. But like something like an Atari, how do you even choose what goes on?
You'll definitely get Joust, probably Defender. Other than that,
boxing.
I don't know.
I think boxing was pretty popular. Guys that just.
I think Atari is going to be more of a. Ooh, let me get this Atari thing. Because it is a very niche. Like not many people that I knew had Atari. I mean, I had Atari 10 years after it came out. And
yeah.
It's going to be. I think it's going to be a much harder sell.
Oh, without a doubt. Like, I won't buy it, but like our group of people might want to get one to have to play with other people.
Yeah, I think a fraction. I think Atari will sell a fraction of what Nintendo's going to sell, obviously, because there's no real hype about Atari amongst anybody who's playing games right now, unless you're like 40 something. Honestly.
Even then, I think they're like would rather do Nintendo over Atari anyway.
Yeah.
You know
Unless
what I mean?
Atari releases it and it has a huge game library on it.
Right.
You know, we're talking about the SNES Classic as 21 games. Yeah, they are the really like they're star games, but 21 games for $80. The NES has 30 games for $60. If the Atari comes out when they have 100 games or their entire game library on it, or pretty close
for $40.
For 40 or $50,
yeah.
It's sold. These people are going to buy it just because it's like it's $40, $50. It's got all these games on it, and everyone knows Atari is a real company. You know, it's not like you're going out and buying the ShopRite retro system. You're buying an Atari system. So like, yes, these are licensed real games that I'm spending money on. You know,
can we HitPointsGaming contact ShopRite to create a game system?
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
that would be fantastic.
We were at ShopRite, and they had one of those, Alibaba consoles there, for $20. Plays 11 games, plug it right into your TV.
Right.
So they exist as well, but...
Well, you have companies like you'll see on Facebook, you're scrolling through your thing, the SNE, the Super Nintendo mini thing, and it's some company that has 600 games on it, and you're like, that's illegal, man. Like there's like I get you're doing this for $30 or $40, but I don't even know how that happens.
Well, the one I saw had it had Mario like 1, 2, and 3, but then it had Mario like 9, 12, 15. Like what are these?
Jesper's
like
rematch Mario game.
Yeah, exactly. But,
so
I mean,
I'm interested. It's as far as the game library, I guess on the Atari, what it'd be like, and even more so is the Commodore. Like people know Atari, at least people would know Joust. People would know Defender, like Kev said, and Atlantis maybe. Games like Freeway, Football, Haunted House, like those are games that people might know. Combat, it's gonna have combat. It's gonna have combat. But like, who can even name a game that isn't a port on Commodore 64?
It was Pitfall on that.
Pitfall? Pitfall is Atari.
It is Atari.
Yeah, Pitfall is Atari. So,
you guys I could name Bop and Rumble.
No, see, I don't know.
Bop and Rumble might be like an original Commodore title. It was like a side-scrolling beat 'em up. I remember you could like do like an overhead smash on the guy and like knock him down into the street, and it was actually a lot of fun.
So, I mean, that sounds great. So does like Forbidden Forest. I love those games so much. I played them a ton on, but like via emulator. And like, I don't know, like the game was designed, the audio was designed, and the graphics and the gameplay and program was all by one guy. Like, how are you going to get that? Like, who knows this person? So, unless they're going to have ports of like, like I think Karateka's a really popular game for that. But like Bionic Commando's on there, but again, that's just a port of. There's just going to be like it's either going to be a ton of ports or a bunch of stuff that nobody knows, and Kickstarter backers are going to get it. It's going to be like 100 people, and that's it. And it's on Kickstarter. There's no Kickstarter for the Atari, I don't think. I think they're just doing it.
They're doing it. Yeah.
Like Kickstarter is like, these people want this thing. We're going to make it for them. You're never going to see it again. We're going to overcharge you. I think in order to get one, it's like over $100, $150.
Oh my God.
Yeah, well, we know that's what Kickstarter does. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
You could have, like, if they came out with Nintendo Classics on Kickstarter, if you waited for retail, it might be $80. But if you wanted to get, the Kickstarter price for comes with a console, $80. Console plus a controller, $110. Console plus 2 controllers and a T-shirt, $160. Like that's what Kickstarter does. And well, not Kickstarter the company, but the people who make stuff on there.
Right.
But like I said, they don't even have a game list. One of the Kickstarter things, the reward is like pay $150 and it comes with a game cartridge of a popular game. Like you don't even know what it is.
Yeah,
I don't even know what it is. So in that regard, I think that's not even for everyone. That's not something that they're trying to make for everyone. Like
But I would
Atari is.
rather buy the Atari or the Commodore 64 because I haven't played them in forever.
Yeah.
You know,
Exactly.
with all the Nintendo games, if you've owned any Nintendo console, you've had the ability to buy it on, your
The
Game Boy
eShop.
Advance, the eShop.
Yeah.
You can play most of these games, and we've already bought them or played them before, or recently. Now you're going to try to get another $60 out of me because I'm going to buy this thing. 'Cause
But
I
people
want
will
it.
do it. Like,
Yes.
and the reason why I know this, and this is me watching like an IGN video, the guy, like your original DS or 3DS, I think started the eShop. Was eShop on DS? I don't remember. Or like DSi, I think it was. People are buying classic Nintendo games.
Yeah.
And then you got your 3DS, and they didn't transfer over.
Yeah,
So
you had
you
to
bought them
rebuy 'em.
again.
Again.
So then you got your Wii, and they didn't transfer over.
Yeah.
So you bought the game on your Wii, and then
Yeah.
the Wii U. I think around that time started to you had like a Nintendo ID, but it's like these people have these games not only maybe even the original cartridge, but they bought them 4 or 5 times in the past like 2 years on different consoles, and now they're gonna be like, hey, you want Mario 3 again, buddy? Okay, and there it is. There's your sixth digital copy of Super Mario 3. That you can play, and people will buy it. I'm not down for that, man. I'm not down for that. And there's other options to do it for cheaper. And
Oh yeah, clearly, and like you said, we've owned these games at one point, or probably already own them. Maybe you own them and your Nintendo doesn't work or whatever. One of the very viable options is you can buy a Raspberry Pi.
right,
You can load a software on there. It's called RetroPie. You can do that, and if you own these games, now here's a way for you to play them, and you're not restricted on how many games you can put on there or anything like that. And it's also can work out to be cheaper, if not the same price. And you can have one system that can play your Nintendo games, your Super
Right.
Nintendo games, your Genesis, all these games you
all the way
already
up
have.
to PlayStation 1. You know what I mean?
Exactly. You can all have it just on one, thing. And I'm more of an advocate of that because I like building my own things anyway. I'm a tinker. I'm always messing with my computer. Chris can vouch for that. I've overclocked my computer all kinds of times and crashed in games in the middle of games playing with him. But I think that's me personally, I think it's a much better way because I'm not too. I like all the games. Obviously, we've grown up on these games and I like playing them and everything. But I'm not so huge on having the NES Classic because it looks like a Nintendo or anything like that. To me, it's
so
like
cool.
I know. Well, that's the thing. It looked. I know. But yeah, you know what? Guess what? For $12.99, you can go on eBay or anywhere else and buy a 3D printed Raspberry Pi case that looks like a Nintendo or a Super Nintendo or a Sega Genesis.
Right.
So like I said, you can do it that way, and you can put all of the games that you own on there, and you're not limited to what they have because. I think there's a way that you can put other games on the NES Classic, but we're not going to get into that.
Right.
But,
Yeah, they did. But I mean, you have this thing where yes, you might do Raspberry Pi. I may do Raspberry Pi, but my mom or dad who played
exactly.
Tetris with me forever and are like, oh, I want to play Tetris again. They are not going to do that. They're going to shell out the $60 and they're going to go buy this.
And the thing is too, in that case, even if you made them a RetroPie, they're not going to want to navigate the menus to get to the game.
No.
Right.
That's true. They're going to turn on a RetroPie, and because I have one actually installed in my car, and I have a monitor in my back seat. You get the matrixy computer code going down. People are instantly scared and looking at it. And then you get to the menu, and it's just a black background with red letters of your games, and they're like, I don't want to do this. How do I do this? And you just press the A button, but that's not good enough. They want a colorful UI that looks like Nintendo characters, and that makes them it could be even more complicated that way to find the game you want. But that's what they want to see.
Yeah. And truthfully, I mean, to be honest, like Chris was saying, the average person who's playing games or might just want to play these old games or whatever, they may not even know how to make one or even where to buy one or anything like that. So it is a lot easier just to go out, pop down the $60, $80, and boom, now you have it. Plug it in, turn it on, go.
That's the difference between buying a video game console or building a PC.
Exactly.
It's the same thing. You know, video game consoles just work for the most part out of the box. You plug a game in it and it works. A PC, you built it. Damn, what happened? You know what I mean? Even owning a PC and installing games, or you never know what the issue is. Something can go wrong, and even Corey's he's a console advocate. I am a console gamer. Now I'm like in the middle. You know, I like doing both. I actually play video games on my PC weirdly. I like when I play PUBG, I hold the controller in one hand and use the mouse to game. It's the best thing ever. It's fantastic, dude. It's the best thing ever. So, but not everybody's like that, man. I used to be a console advocate until I played, until I saw Division looked like a 60 FPS.
I was going to say 60 and 120 FPS. Now you saw the light. 60
FPS Division, I was like, yo, this is insane. Got my GTX 970, and I play single-player games on PC mostly, but I play games with like Matt on console, and that's just the way it is. What do you think? What would you want if a company were to re-release a classic version of itself that's not out already? Like, what do you think you would want? Like a mini Jaguar?
Oh, like a different system? What I want?
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. I think it would be great, and not that the system is even that far gone or anything, but I would love to have a Dreamcast again.
Oh my god, dude! Chris just blew up.
I'm telling you.
Dreamcast Mini?
Chris, how much do we play Dreamcast?
Oh,
Dreamcast is the best console ever.
My games don't work anymore. They don't work anymore. We play them so much.
I know.
We would burn through controllers. That would be the greatest thing. A mini or a retro Dreamcast.
That would be fantastic. And you know what? You could put 30 games on there, and I'm fine with that.
Nah, man, don't do it that way. Just give me the console. Let that thing be Wi-Fi, and let me download games to it.
Yeah, let me buy them. You know, let me pay $5 a game. Even $5, it's steep. I think for an old game that you've already made. $5 to $7, I would do it. You know,
Dreamcast. That's kind of a steal for a good Dreamcast game. $5.
Oh yeah.
$5 is steal. So even if they did 10, that'd be okay.
Yeah, but I think you're right. I think that would be a good way, like an a la carte style, like sell the system maybe for only $30 or $40.
Have it come with a game.
You got to come with
Sonic Adventure. Sonic Adventure, Crazy Taxi are bundled in there.
Yeah, maybe like 4 or 5 of the 4 big ones, you know. But then have some. Well, now here's the logistics of it. You have an eShop set up somewhere.
Yeah.
You know?
Then you have to run servers.
Sega side.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing.
You have to then have servers.
Nintendo,
support.
It's no problem. You know, Nintendo could do that no problem. And I think it's kind of silly of Nintendo to not allow the NES and the SNES to hook up to the internet and go on their eShops and be able to download more games on it, because they could just reap the benefits of, you know, just keep selling game after game after game.
Yeah, but you know that what Nintendo loves to do is have a fantastic idea and make it as inconvenient as possible. That's that is their main business focus, is to have a great idea and do something horribly wrong.
Do you mean like playing with your friends, but you know what? I don't have a name. I'm just a bunch of numbers.
Yes. Or how about having a console that you have to use your cell phone for voice chat when you could just use Discord or anything else on your phone besides the Nintendo app for voice chat. So that's their main thing. And you know what? I was talking to somebody about this. I feel like they do that just to make Nintendo fans have just to go in their gut and try to defend it. To see to do it for the real fans. Like, oh well, you know, if it had a headphone jack, this was somebody said. If it had a headphone jack, it'd be more expensive. It's like, what?
Yeah, it would be.
That part.
But how much?
It would be.
You know,
how much?
Yeah.
So
but getting back,
it can't be more expensive. It can't be more expensive than running an app.
No.
It can't be.
Well, that's the thing though. So kind of getting back to, I think you brushed the topic a little bit about having a third-party app for voice chat, like with the Switch. That's actually been said. The reason why they did it, now of course Nintendo didn't come out and say this, but a lot of people are speculating the reason why they did it is because they're trying to eke out so much performance gains out of the Switch, because it's a somewhat underpowered device in today's
somewhat
game.
Is an understatement.
Well, yeah, I'm trying to be nice, but you know, they're saying that even though a voice chat program would use a minuscule amount of CPU usage, it may just be enough to impact performance on. Because look, come on, Breath of the Wild. Although I love that game, I actually didn't think I was going to love it, but I absolutely loved that game. It had a hard time playing. I don't even know if it was 30.
Dude, I've seen that game come to a halt.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like you shot something and things blew up. It freezes and then everything is leveled.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's the thing, because, and look, Nintendo does their homework. They optimize code very well. That's how they can use these. That's been Nintendo's game that's been the name of the game the whole time. They use cheap, old, outdated parts that they can get for nothing, and they just optimize it through software coding and to make it work. But they're constantly using old stuff. They're the only company that makes money off their consoles. PlayStation loses money or maybe breaks even on their consoles. Xbox loses or breaks even on their consoles.
They all lose, I think. I think they all lose.
I think Nintendo actually makes money on the consoles.
Right.
Or at least used to. Maybe not the Switch, because the Switch does have a fair amount of stuff going on with it. But because they're using old hardware. And that was the thing with the voice chat, where they couldn't put it on there because it would be just too much for it.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think you nailed it with Dreamcast Classic Mini. I think that would be crazy.
I would really like to have PlayStation, because PlayStation 1 was great.
Oh, yeah.
It had a lot of great games on it. And again, if it was similar to the Dreamcast, like allow you to hook up to the internet and buy games. But it seems like that would be a lot more work for them to do,
Well, I mean, you can already do that on your PlayStation already.
Right. But not a bunch, but maybe enough to warrant, like a retro revamp or whatever.
I would see PlayStation doing it more like the Nintendo style, where there's 20 games on there. Dreamcast, though, they don't have a console you can download stuff on right now, so they would. That's why I would hope that way. PlayStation, just release it. What are you gonna do? If you release the PlayStation Classic Mini, you're gonna do Crash. You're gonna do Tomb Raiders, right?
You throw Final Fantasy 7 on there?
I'm sure they'll get the rights for Final Fantasy 7, like Metal Gear Solid. Some other crap that nobody cares about, maybe like a Vagrant Story, stuff like that. And of course, right? Oh, I forgot about Twisted Metal. Twisted Metal for sure. Yeah. What was it called? Warhawk? Was that like one of the original ones? The airplane one that was real early. I think it was called Warhawk.
Yeah.
Was that PS1?
I think the original Warhawk was PS1. No, I think the original Warhawk's PS1, and then the PS2 Warhawk was like, oh man, they're bringing it back. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And then let's see what else came. What would you even do with an Xbox Classic? Like, their first party games were awful.
Nothing.
They're awful.
Nothing. They had having a computer.
They had the best ports of everything on OG Xbox, but then their first party games were horrendous. Even and whatever, shoot me in the face. Halo 1 sucked. Okay, it sucked.
Well, I think that might have been actually the only one that I actually liked.
Halo 1 sucked. I hated the monsters running around talking like. I hated it. I hate the way it looked. I hate the way it played. I know it did a lot for console shooters. I get it.
It did nothing. I don't want to get too deep into it, but all that stuff already existed already.
I know. Right. Halo.
GoldenEye was the one for me.
That was the first one.
But then LAN parties happened with Halo, and that's why people were excited. 16 players getting together. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But people seem to overshoot how GoldenEye was the original one that people were getting together and playing that for 6 days and it's straight.
Yeah. PC LAN parties were already happening for many games before that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So then you have the 64, right? 64 Classic. 64. You know it's coming. You know it's coming.
It is.
You have to.
That's going to be the 3, I think. They're not going to do a GameCube.
No.
I don't think they're going to do a disc-based Classic. I think they're going to go up to 64, and they're going to, Mario 64, Ocarina of Time, probably like the weird Master's Quest version that they released on disc.
Maybe original Smash Brothers.
Definitely OG Smash,
Mario
Mischief
Party.
Makers, Mario Party, probably like 1, 2, probably all of them. Nah, maybe up to like 3, right? Probably like 3.
Yeah.
Blast Core was one of them when it came out. Pilot Wings.
Pilot Wings. That's what I was just trying to think of that. Pilot Wings, definitely.
Yo, is Pilot Wings on the SNES Classic? I don't think so.
I'll tell you in just a moment.
That would be interesting if it wasn't. That was a launch title, I think, on Super.
No,
It's
it
not.
wasn't. It was Pilot. Was Pilot Wings on Super, or was it launched for 64?
Both.
I think it was 64.
I think it was
64.
both because I remember getting Super and actually playing Pilot Wings first.
Really?
I'm almost positive, man. I know I did for 64 for sure. Like, without a doubt. We got Pilot Wings instead of Mario. But I want to say I had a day one copy of Pilot Wings.
Did you put any of the wrestling games on
no.
the N64?
Oh my god.
Those, the amount of hours played in WCW, NWO, and all of those.
And Revenge and No Mercy, WrestleMania 2000. Those games, like, you just wish that they would just make the new ones like that. You know, off topic, people do update the rosters on the PC versions of that stuff.
Oh yeah, wow.
They have updated rosters, just like they had the updated Tecmo Bowl carts, which is kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I don't know if doing these classic consoles is lucrative for everyone else either.
Right. No, absolutely not. I think Nintendo already has most of this already paved, and they're just recreating, reprinting money pretty much.
Right.
You know?
They have the biggest hype out of any console, especially with the nostalgia and the younger, youthful crowd of just dying and pining for pixel art games. They have no matter how many they make, they're sold. You know.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. It's I do believe that. So Sega's already done it, but I think it's unfortunate they did it the other way. It's really unfortunate that they made theirs the super cheap Walmart style machine.
I don't know if those are Sega licensed.
They are.
It was?
Yeah, you can play cards in them and everything.
Okay.
If they had waited, and mind you, there was no way for them to ever predict this, but in a different, in an alternate universe, they didn't do it, and they were waiting, and Nintendo came out with theirs first. Sega would have put together a completely different package and sold it as the Sega Genesis Classic. You know what I mean? It would have looked like a Genesis, I think. It probably wouldn't have played games, but it may have. It would have probably came with like a better library. They would have took it more seriously as opposed to just throwing it on the bargain bin shelf for people to buy. And that's unfortunate.
I feel like Sega was always too far ahead, honestly, and that was kind of their downfall. Sega was the first one that had online play, I think, because it had the modem that you could get. That wasn't the first one?
X-Band. It was actually for Sega and Super.
Oh, it worked for both?
Yeah.
Okay. I thought it was just Sega only, but
but that was a third-party company anyway.
Yeah, well, I think they may have jumped the gun with Sega CD. I feel like that may have just been too much of a, I don't want to say niche thing, but
it was for sure.
It was actually pretty expensive just for an add-on, and I don't think it got enough of a following because they never really had a whole lot of games for it. I don't know. I feel like they may have just kind of always been one too many steps ahead, and that was maybe the downfall of them.
Yeah, well, same thing with 3DO. 3DO was if you turn on a 3DO right now versus a PlayStation 1, it outperforms it by like 100 as far as the way the games look. Especially ports between the both. The 3DO is better, but it also played like video CDs, and it played CDs at the time. At a time when that stuff wasn't very common, and nobody had any use for that thing to be. I think it was five when it came out. I think it was 500, 400 or 500. And back then, that's even way more money. But Sega had the 32X. You know what I mean?
Right, and it's like this technology
was unnecessary.
And it's like this technology that wasn't commonplace that people didn't even understand. So only a handful of people are even going to care about it, and even a smaller handful of those people are going to be able to afford it.
And they were trying to do what Nintendo don't, man. They were trying to do everything extra, but and then Dreamcast. Dreamcast was crazy to look at first. Mm-hmm. Everything was 60 FPS on Dreamcast. Yep. Everything
Sega
was.
Sega always had better performance hardware. Better performing consoles. The Sega Genesis was more powerful than the Super Nintendo.
Which is a shame because it didn't look or sound nearly as good. It really didn't. It wasn't as colorful. The sound chip on Sega, if used correctly, is fantastic, but on most occasions it was horrible.
The one game that I remember that blew me away on Sega that ran really well was the Tasmanian Devil game.
Yeah,
that game was.
Yeah.
I think that game was
looked
like
great.
a second too, because the spinning was so fast and smooth.
Yeah,
it was phenomenal.
That Gunstar, Gunstar. There's so much happening on Gunstar, and you like almost never see any slowdown.
Are these
great.
things that you think? Is this enough for Sega to make? You think they're really going to make anything? Another retro system?
Not now, I don't think. I think that they. I think
they've diluted
they've
the waters.
They've already
diluted their water. Yeah.
They've already been there too much.
I feel like if they did, which they won't do, man. That's just wishful thinking. If we got a new Dreamcast,
I would
Dreamcast.
wait for that.
I would wait in line for that, man. Dreamcast, seeing that versus anything else at the time, just watching a kickoff in 2K was crazy. Then seeing Ready to Rumble for the first time, you couldn't believe it. Like the skin was stretching and stuff, and I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I think
Taxi ran
Crazy Taxi. It ran like the arcade. It was the first console to do arcade ports all the way.
Yep.
Like Saturn had Daytona, but it wasn't the arcade. Dreamcast was. It was.
Yeah.
Power Stone, exactly like the arcade. The Marvel's Capcom series, PlayStation version you couldn't even tag, and Dreamcast version was perfect. You know what I mean? So I don't know, man. I think
that's
awesome.
the only console I would ever buy. Maybe because we all know I love Dreamcast and Sega, but I like with Nintendo and SNES. I own a lot of the games already that I want. And I know that the three of us are kind of like the smaller group of people who own retro games. But that's kind of why I don't want an SNES or an NES Classic. Because I own the games on the original consoles with the original controllers. Like I don't have a need for it. It's really easy to use, and I would have it hooked up like on my computer, like right here on this monitor. But I just don't really need it that much because I feel I already have it. Why do I need to spend more money on it?
The only console I've ever researched in the last, let's say year or two of trying to get it my hands on and buy again was a Dreamcast. I almost bought a Dreamcast bundled with like 20 games that was being sold.
Yeah. It's a great Dreamcast was a great machine, and I think everything after that really is too recent. Right? I think everything after that's too recent.
Oh yeah. Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
And when you get to that when you get to that level, it's when you can just buy those games on the current gen consoles virtual stores or whatever, eShops, right? Sega doesn't have an eShop.
Well, Sega is working a lot with Nintendo. You can go on Nintendo and get the Space Channel 5, like you can get some of those games on the
really?
eShop. Yeah.
Oh, see, I didn't know that at all. So unless Nintendo releases the Dreamcast Classic, you won't be seeing it.
Great. That would be great if Nintendo took over that and released it. It would be phenomenal. Yeah. I think if Sega did it themselves, it would be good. But if Nintendo just worked at it or had their hands involved just a little bit, it would be to the next level.
I think it would be much better than if Sega did it. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yep.
Well, closing thoughts for me personally, I'm not into the classic minis right now. All reports say that Star Fox 2 would be why you got it, right? Everybody's saying it's not even great. They're saying it's terrible performance. It's unfinished. It's garbage.
Yep.
I think that the Super NES and NES Classics are cool. I think, for somebody to maybe just have them in their living room, ready to play at some point for when they have company. Hey, man, you want to jump on this real quick before we go out? Sure. That type of thing. Most people aren't going to go home and grind through all those games. Somebody out there is, right? Somebody out there is.
Yes.
But for the most part, I feel like that group of people is not going to be doing that. And it's not for me right now. No, I don't see myself buying any of them. Any of them.
I would say I have to agree. Not really my thing. I think you hit the nail on the head right in the beginning of just saying it's a great showpiece. To have something on display. People walk in. I think it's a really cool conversation starter. Maybe have a few friends over for a party or something. You throw it on for 20 minutes. Everyone has a great time with it, and that might be it.
All right. Or even leave it on in the background of the party. Just it's on the TV. You don't want people watching TV, but if they're gonna play games, hey, whatever. Everybody's having a good time.
Right.
All right.
I can't imagine. I don't think I could see myself like coming home from work one night and be like, man, I can't wait to spend 4 hours playing my SNES Classic.
Right.
You know, it's not happening. You know?
No, it's not. It's not for me. What about you, Chris?
I don't. It's not for me either. Only because I think I'm that small niche of people who own all these games already. I don't really want to go out and spend the money on them again. Although I do really see a market for it. I see a lot of people wanting them, and I think it is really cool. Like you guys keep saying, to put it on your shelf, and it's there. You know, hey, you want to play this real quick? I think that's really, really cool. And they're small; they're the size of your hand.
Right.
So it's really cool as well. If there was a new console ever to come out, like the Dreamcast would be like the next retro one I'm looking forward to. I'm really kind of looking forward to the Atari as well. I do own like 30 or 40 Atari games, and I could go play that. But I think it maybe just because it's an Atari system, it's kind of like I want to give them a little bit money, maybe just because I don't know.
Support
but
it, yeah.
Yeah, you want to support it, man. There's nothing wrong with that. I get that.
Yeah,
And
I mean
that's me with the Commodore. You know, like that I could see like, you know, this is just a cool thing. So I could throw some money to that and support that or whatever. But again, the SNES, we did that our whole life growing up. I could go to any one of your houses and play it if I want to. I have a couple of things myself,
right.
so.
And also, they've been reselling you those games for 15 years. I don't need you to.
Exactly.
I don't need to get. I don't need you to. Mind you, I haven't been buying them, but like I don't need for you to sell me them again. I don't.
Right.
I don't.
they're just money hungry. They're money hungry, and they know that you're going to get them.
Yeah. Exactly.
Printing money.
I was just going to say, to my closing argument is, hopefully in 2 weeks when we do our next podcast, everyone's still alive, because we're going to a Tough Mudder in a couple of days.
Oh boy.
Ooh.
Most of these guys are coming with me, and I'm hoping that they come back home with me alive.
Oh boy, who's going? Who's going?
You're talking to one of them right here.
Oh, Kev's doing the Tough Mudder.
Yeah, Corey's joining us. We've got maybe 14, 15 people in total, so it should be a really good time. I've been doing Spartan races. I have a good time with them. They're a lot of fun. They're a good way to test yourself, and if you don't do the obstacles, even just doing the walking, running, jogging is a really good exercise. It's a really good achievement, something to do. I'm looking forward to it, and I think it's going to be really cool to actually do it with some of you guys. So yeah,
I'm looking forward to coming home.
That sounds awesome. So yeah, make sure thanks everybody for listening in. Again, download link will be on Spreaker, the Filling the Void podcast network, as well as on iHeartRadio. And I hope that you guys listen to all of our podcasts and that you listen to us next time.
Yeah.
Take it easy, folks.